Today on Stock Charts in Focus, we're going beyond the charts to give you more market insights and trade ideas from, well, other charts. We're going to take a look at some of the other tools that exist on stock charts beyond our traditional price charts with sharp charts and ACP, things like that. We're going to go look at things like Seasonality Charts, GalleryView, MarketCarpets, even RRG. We're going to show you how to access these tools, show you why they're important, and why they need a place in your process. So it's all new, it's all here, it's Stock Charts in Focus. All right, my friends, welcome to the show, Stock Charts in Focus. Of course, our product focus show here on the channel, where we dig into the site, dive into the tools, walk you through those features, and ultimately help you get more value out of stock charts. That is our mission here every Friday up on the Stock Charts TV channel. My name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com, and it's wonderful to be back with you, as always, for another episode of the show. This is going to be a fun one. What we're doing this week is kind of stepping back from some of those main charting tools that we all use every single day, things like sharp charts and ACP, the places that we go to get our primary price charts and indicators and all of that good stuff. We're going to take a look at some of the other charting tools that you have available to you. Now, we've got a ton of different tools on stock charts. We're going to show you the best place to go and learn about all of those. But at the top of our charts and tools page, we've got sort of our core charting tools, the core visualization tools grouped at the top of that page. Now, the first row is where you generally go to find those sharp charts and ACP charts. But below that, we've got some incredible tools that you really should know about. So that's what we're going to do on the show today. We're going to give you a very quick whirlwind tour through all of those additional charting tools, but hopefully it's going to get the gears turning in your head, show you how some of these work, show you what they are if you're not familiar with it, and it's going to show you some tools that you can use in your own process, whether you're analyzing the markets and looking for insights kind of at that higher level, or even if you're reviewing your portfolio, different positions you have, new trade targets, things like that. These tools can be incredibly useful for that case as well. So lots to cover on the show. Again, we are going to absolutely fly, but let's jump over to it and get it going. All right, everyone. So we are here on our charts and tools page. This is one of my favorite pages that I like to show people on the site. Of course, you can get here by hitting charts and tools in the top left corner of any page around stock charts, but this really is an amazing directory of everything that's available on stock charts. So this is kind of what I was talking about. We've got this page grouped into a couple of different categories. Up at the very top, of course, we have all of our core charting tools, visualization tools. That's what we're going to talk about today. But then down below that, you also have our market summary pages, different things like the sector summary, industry summary, scooter reports, our new earnings calendar as well, grouped in there. We've got different member tools like scanning and alerting, ACP plugins, the sample galleries, chart gallery and scan library, really key tools there. And the list goes on. So first and foremost, this page, if you haven't spent time with it, a great place to go to not only access these tools if you are familiar with them, but also kind of read through these cards, see what these different tools are, and learn about the different things you have access to on stock charts. Of course, if the screen is wide enough, you also have access to those tools right over here on the right side of the page. So at the top of the screen, we've got our row of kind of what we consider the core, primary, most important charting tools. That is sharp charts, a traditional charting tool that most of you are probably using. ACP, that's our advanced charting platform, dynamic, fluid, kind of flexible charting experience all in one. And then, of course, point and figure charts, a fan favorite, kind of that old school X's and O's type of chart. So that row is where most people go, right? Those are kind of the tools that people are looking for. But then down below that, you'll see that we have 7 cards for some of these other visualization tools that exist on stock charts. Now, I'll be honest, I mean, there are amazing things that you can get out of sharp charts and ACP and your point and figure charts. That's where most of our work is done as technicians. But some of these tools have lots and lots of incredible insights to give. And we're actually going to start the show today with one of my favorites for special, unique insights. That's going to be our seasonality tour. So what we're going to do, as I mentioned, we're going to highlight each of these 7 tools, and we are just going to bang through them really, really quick. This show is not intended to give you a full tour of every little corner of each of these tools. It's intended to just make sure that you know about these different things so you can go and play with them yourself. So let's jump into it. We're going to hit seasonality, one of my favorites, as I mentioned. Now, seasonality charts show monthly price performance trends over a period of time that you actually get to set. So if we come in here and we type in something like NVIDIA and we hit go, you'll see that we launch over to our seasonality chart. So if you're wondering, hey, it's the middle of June here, we've got July coming up, how does NVIDIA typically do over the last maybe 10 years in the month of July? Well, that's what the seasonality tool can help you answer. This is going to default to 5. So the number down here in the bottom right corner is 5 years. And you can see that we have bars for each month of the year. Now we can move this slider back and forth to get different 5-period chunks, or we can actually drag this slider out to be different numbers of years. This goes all the way up to 20, I believe. So we can drag this out to 10 in the case of the question that we were just answering. We're looking at NVIDIA over the last 10 years. How has NVIDIA performed overall on average in each of the 12 months of the year? You can see that we've got those months down here, January through December, and then we've got some numbers on the chart. So let's break this down really quick. What this is saying is the percentage of the time over this period of time that NVIDIA has gone up in this month. So let's break that down again a little bit. This 50 at the top of the bar means that on average over the last 10 years, NVIDIA has been a gainer, has gone up in the month of January 50% of the time. So 5 out of 5, it's gone up. 5 out of 10, it's gone up. The other 5, it's actually gone down in that month. When we look at a month like May, 90% of the time over the last 10 years, NVIDIA has gone up in the month of May. So these numbers at the top tell you what percentage of the time this stock or fund or anything that you're looking at has gone up in that month. The number at the bottom of the bar tells you the average gain or loss over that month. Now, in this case, NVIDIA has primarily been a huge winner. So we actually don't have very many down months. We can see that we've got April, we've got a flat month in September, and we've got December as a down month there. But if these are positive numbers, that means that the average move for that stock in that month has been that number, positive 10.3%, 7%, 3.7%. And if it's a negative number, it's been on average a decliner in that month. So in the case of the question that we were asking, NVIDIA, how is it done in July? We can quickly jump over to our seasonality tool. We can see that NVIDIA over the last 10 years on average has gone up in July 67% of the time, and the average gain in July has been 7%. That is an incredible month for NVIDIA, typically in the month of July. Now, specifically, we've got a stock that's actually been making new highs, moving up on those price charts, and heading into a month that has been seasonally strong. That's kind of the trick to this seasonality chart. You can start to pair it with those price charts and think, okay, seasonally, this happens in NVIDIA or whatever stock you're looking at over this period of time. Let's see if those kind of seasonal trends play out this year. So again, insights can be gleaned from a tool like this. Now, again, you can customize your period here. You also do have a couple of options if you actually want to break all the years apart and see how they've moved, how that stock has moved in different years. You can use that button right there. And if you want to see all of them on the same scale, you can actually see all of those different years. So couple of different options. Typically, though, we look at this in that kind of histogram bar chart option, and that is the way that the seasonality tool works. Now, one other quick thing before we move on to our next tool, if you wanted to do a comparison, you can also use this box. So if you wanted to see, for instance, NVIDIA versus the S&P 500 over the last, let's just keep it on 5 years, this is now looking at seasonal relative strength or relative weakness for those different stocks. So we can see that April has typically been a very, very bad month for NVIDIA, not just on its own, as we saw a minute ago, but also against the total market. Typically loses against the total market and underperforms by about 4.6%. So amazing little insights that you can glean from here. And again, you can use this for individual stocks, but we can also use this for things like the S&P 500 itself. We can use this as a market analysis tool to see seasonal trends for specific indexes. You could do this for any symbol on StockCharts. Very, very cool things. So that is our seasonality tour, a quick highlight of one of my personal favorite tools. Now we're going to jump back over to our charts and tools page and jump over to our next tool, which is going to be the PerfCharts tool. Now we're actually going to jump in here. You've got a couple of different options. What the PerfCharts tool allows you to do is see performance, again, over a period of time for a whole bunch of different ticker symbols. Now you can enter your own list of symbols, or you can use this, again, like we said, for some market insights. You could jump into, for instance, the sector ETFs. You've got a couple of different ways to view this perf chart. Again, this is kind of that histogram bar chart type of option, or just like we did with our seasonality tool, you can hit that little button in the bottom left corner and actually kind of break everything apart into more of a line chart, all on the same percentage scale. So this is going to take all of those symbols that you input to the perf chart, and it's going to show you the percentage performance move for all of those symbols on the same scale over whatever period of time you want. Now this is going to default to 200 days, of course, based on our 200-day moving average that most technicians like to use. But again, similar to that seasonality tool, we can drag this little slider down to be any number that we want. If we wanted to go way, way out and see really, really long-term performance, we can do that. We can draw it down to be something smaller, like 50 days or anything like that. And we can actually double click on this to actually turn it into a little input. So if we wanted to do 50 days specifically, we can give that a quick click. We can also right click on that menu and get a couple of different options in there. So lots of different ways to use this. Let's say we wanted to do, for instance, year to date. We can quickly jump right to that year to date number. Now, if we wanted to set this to 50, again, we can drag this through time. So we can actually see kind of relative performance through time for those different symbols. Very, very cool. I love to use this for the sector ETFs. You can also use it, again, though, for stocks in your portfolio or stocks that you're tracking. You can see how they've performed over a period of time. And similar to what we did with the seasonality tool, you can view this in absolute numbers or in relative numbers. So actually what we're viewing right now, you can tell that because the S&P 500 little label is sort of depressed there. It's highlighted in dark. What we're actually viewing right now, as you can see with this note, is all of the sector ETFs relative to that benchmark, relative to the S&P 500. If we wanted to just see the absolute numbers, we can give that a click so that nothing here is highlighted. You'll see that now everything is the same. And so now what we're looking at is over the last 50 days, all of those sector ETFs and the S&P 500 itself, how have they performed? What have been the percentage moves on those different funds? We can also hover over these lines. Takes a little bit of trickiness to get the cursor lined up there, but you can hover over these lines to actually get those values as well, get those little info boxes. So again, you've got a couple of different options. If we wanted to type in something like NVIDIA, Apple, and Microsoft, let's say, again, we can get the performance of those three symbols, a custom group, all on that chart together. And then if we wanted to add in, for instance, the S&P 500, we could add that in. Now we're seeing all of those symbols plus the S&P 500, and we can quickly set this to be a relative performance chart by clicking on whichever symbol we want to be the baseline. So a couple of creative ways to use the perf charts there and see performance history over a period of time that you want to customize. Again, you can drag that little slider around, set your values, lots of different ways to do that. By the way, you do have access to this predefined groups menu right up here in the corner, which allows you to jump to some of those different things like we were looking at with the sector ETF, some of those different groups. And we also have major industry groups in this list as well. So if you wanted to specifically look at pharmaceutical companies, for instance, or restaurants, you can quickly jump to the stocks in those groups. So that is our PerfCharts tool. Let's jump over, continue our quick tour here, jumping into CandleGlance. Now, really, really similar kind of setup here with CandleGlance. You can type in your own list of symbols, or quickly pull up any of those predefined groups. Similar kind of thing. We've got lots of those predefined groups and those major industry groups in the menu below as well. Let's stick with that sector theme because I love to use this for sector charting. Again, we're talking about market insights. I find that sector analysis is one of the best ways to think about the market. So these tools can be incredibly helpful for your sectors of the market analysis if you want to think about it that way. What our CandleGlance tool allows you to do is take a group of ticker symbols and view tiny little mini charts for all of those symbols. This can be incredibly helpful for analyzing large groups of ticker symbols all at once without having to see those full-sized giant charts up on your screen. If you just want to get a sense of how things are trending, what's working, what's not, CandleGlance is an incredible tool for that. So as you can see up on the screen here, we've pulled up one of those predefined groups. We've got the S&P 500 in the top left, and then we've got all of those sector ETFs, XLY, XLC, XLK, things like that, all on the screen. We've got those in this little mini chart format so we can quickly see how those are moving over the last, in this case, over the last year. Now, one of the cool things about CandleGlance is that you can actually customize these charts. As you can see right here, StockCharts members can totally customize these charts. If you give this a click, it'll actually kind of explain how to do that. All you have to do is save a chart style that you want to use for CandleGlance, and then you can choose that from this menu right up here at the top. Now, you can see CandleGlance charts over different time periods. So we've got 2-day charts, we've got 2-month charts. So again, we could look at the sectors over the last 2 days, we can look at the sectors over the last 2 months, look at the sectors over the last 1 year. You can even get fancy and use P&F charts for these if P&F charts are of interest to you. Or again, you can customize your own CandleGlance style. So what you're seeing, the reason that mine might look a little bit different from yours is that this is my custom CandleGlance style. I've got a couple of moving averages on there, and I've got a relative strength line right up at the top. And I've actually stripped this out because I know exactly what these charts are, so I don't even need those labels. But this allows me to see how things are moving, what's working, what's not just on a price basis, but also on a relative basis, again, against the total market. So CandleGlance, a great way to think about large groups of symbols, whether you're looking at it at the market level, at the sector level, at the industry group level. You can look at large groups of symbols all together on the same screen, and you can actually use a hidden little feature in here to delete the ones that aren't interesting to you. So if you want to delete anything from this page, you don't actually have to go up here and delete the symbol. You can just hover over that chart, give it a click, and it'll say, do you want to remove that symbol from the screen? You hit yes, and there you go. You can see that you can actually slim this down really, really easily. So this is great for, again, market analysis, but also great for reviewing stocks. If we want to see, for instance, all of the airlines, that's actually a fun group. You can see all of those airline stocks in here and pick the ones that are working, pick the ones that aren't, sort of delete them as you go. If you wanted to see something like, let's look for semiconductors, lots of semiconductor stocks out there working right now, you could do the same kinds of things. You could delete the ones that aren't working, leave the ones that are. It's a great way to kind of filter through large groups of symbols. Personally, I like to run my scans, save those to a chart list, and then use the CandleGlance chart list view to actually kind of review those scan results. Also a great way to review all of the symbols that you own in your portfolio. If you put those in a chart list, you can use the CandleGlance chart list view to actually review all of those symbols nice and easily with those little mini charts. So we're going to jump back over. That's kind of our quick highlight of CandleGlance. Again, those mini price charts, incredibly useful. Once you want to dig into one of those specific symbols, one of the best ways to do that is through our GalleryView tool. So GalleryView, we'll stick with our NVIDIA example, allows you to see one symbol across a whole bunch of different time frames. This is something that we highlight a lot in ACP using those multi-chart layout features. In Sharp Charts, if you want to see multiple charts of the same symbol over different time frames, do some multi-time frame analysis, this is a great way to do it. Once again, you can customize these charts. If you're a StockCharts member, look for that little button up at the top. That'll explain exactly how to customize your GalleryView charts. Mine will look a little bit different from you, but these are my custom GalleryView charts. What this page does, it stacks them all in a single column. So you've got an intraday view up at the top. In my case, we're looking at about a 75-day intraday 1-minute chart, so I can see the short-term price action here on NVIDIA. Then I can scroll down, I get my daily chart next, so I can pore over the daily chart over about a year and a half. I can scroll down to the weekly chart. I've got a long-term 15-year weekly, so that allows me to quickly zoom out to a long-term weekly chart that I like to view for this symbol. And then down below that, we even have the PNF chart. And again, you can customize this as well. This tool is a total game changer when you're thinking about, again, picking different stocks or evaluating how markets are doing, how specific indexes are doing, not just in one time frame, but over multiple time frames, short term, intermediate term, and long term. GalleryView is a total game changer. Again, I love to use this for reviewing my portfolio. I can use that chart list view, take all the positions that I own, save them in a chart list, and then review it with the chart list GalleryView for that list. I can pore over all the symbols that I own in this kind of GalleryView layout, just scroll through them and then go right to the next one. It's a great way for reviewing stocks that you are thinking about, or ETFs that you're thinking about, any security that you're thinking about buying. You want to review that not just over one time frame, but over multiple time frames. GalleryView is exactly what lets you do that. So a favorite of mine, again, while personally all of these are favorites of mine, I like using all of these tools. But again, you can customize all of these charts. GalleryView is a great way to review them. One other thing that you can do, little hidden trick here, you can actually type in two symbols separated by a comma, and that will put two GalleryView columns right next to each other. So if you do want to review, let's say, NVIDIA and the market right next to each other to kind of see how they're playing on the same time frame, we can do that with this GalleryView tool. We can see here is NVIDIA, here's the S&P 500. We can review those intraday time frame charts. We can see NVIDIA's daily chart versus the S&P 500's daily chart. And again, we can do the same thing with the weekly and the PNF. So another little hidden trick here in GalleryView, you can actually view multiple symbols at the same time with this tool, up to two columns there. Jumping back to our charts and tools page, we're going to keep on flying. The next couple up are things that we've got plenty of other episodes, plenty of other documentation on, but definitely want to highlight them today. Our own Julius de Kempenaar, a close friend of ours, close partner of ours, and host of the Sector Spotlight show on StockCharts TV. He is actually the creator of RRG Charts, Relative Rotation Graphs. Incredible charts. And I really do want to direct you over to Julius's show. If this is of interest at all, be sure to follow Sector Spotlight every single week on StockCharts TV. Julius and his content, his written content in our article section. He does an amazing job of showing you exactly how to apply RRG charts for the current market. But the idea behind them, kind of at a high level, again, you take a group of securities and you're applying kind of the same relative strength logic, putting those in a 4-quadrant grid and reviewing them over time to see which ones are weakening, which ones are strengthening, which ones are leading, and which ones are lagging. So you can see those 4 quadrants in here. We can take a group, for instance, let's do our S&P 500 sector ETFs once again. We can plot all of those sector ETFs on the RRG chart and see not just which sectors are leading and which sectors are lagging, things like that in the different quadrants, but also kind of the history. So these tails actually show us the history of how things have been moving over a specific period of time. You can set that, customize that down here. We can stretch that tail length out to be really, really long. And when we do that, we actually see the rotation of the RRG chart in play right there. You can see that those tails start to rotate. So in general, when we think about sectors strengthening and weakening, right, it's kind of a rotation between those sectors. The RRG chart allows you to actually see that and drill into exactly what's happening and sort of time that sector rotation, or other rotations within specific sectors, stocks rotating, again, weakening and improving and lagging and leading and all of that. You can do the same thing with industry groups. This is an incredible tool and far more needs to be covered about the RRG than we can do on the show today. But again, lots and lots that you can customize about this tool. You can even do some amazing things like animating it to actually see that rotation over time. I always love to show people that. But Julius's work, he has a lot of content here on StockCharts, his articles, and also his show every week. He does an amazing job of explaining this tool and showing you exactly how to use it. When I think about market analysis tools, different ways to actually see the markets from new perspectives, RRG is probably at the top of the list. One of my favorite tools to show people. So RRG Charts, another one that definitely deserve a place in your portfolio. Again, if you're a StockCharts member, you can customize a lot more about this chart. Again, the symbols, the benchmark, the time frame, and you have a chart list view for this as well. So if you've got a bunch of symbols saved into a chart list, you can pull up an RRG chart of all those symbols in that chart list view. Jumping back over to our charts and tools page, we're going to pull up our MarketCarpets next. Now I'm giving you a little sneak peek of something. This is our MarketCarpet heat map. This is actually getting a huge redesign at the moment. We're going to be previewing that for you in just a couple of weeks. We've got some very exciting technology previews, demos coming out to the site, in addition to a major site-wide product release coming very, very soon. So MarketCarpet's actually getting a total revamp. I have seen what the team is working on, and it is beautiful. Dave Keller and I were actually sitting down the other day looking at that new version of MarketCarpets and just loving it, just poring over the tool, having so much fun playing with it. It's going to be a lot more dynamic, a lot more interactive, and just a lot kind of newer and fresher with new data groups and all of that. So very excited to bring you the next generation of our MarketCarpet tool. If you are interested in these market heat maps, though, the MarketCarpet as it stands right now is still a fantastic tool, and you've got a lot of different ways to get value out of this tool. So this is going to take all of the, for instance, the sectors of the market. We've got our predefined groups down here. If we jump into our sector ETF MarketCarpet, this is going to take all of those different sectors of the market and put them into these kind of different groups and then size everything by default by its market cap. So you can see when I hover over these different boxes, each box represents a specific stock. Here's UPS. We've got 3M down here. We've got NextEra. Each of these boxes represents, there's Walmart, a specific box. Now this is going to show you over this period of time, just like that seasonality and PerfChart tool, the performance of those different securities. So again, if we wanted to do, let's say, over the last 15 days, here's the performance of all of these symbols over the last 15 days. Now we've got a couple of different options. If we actually right click on this, we can change a whole bunch of different things. We can show the ticker symbols so that we get all of those shown by default. We can also change the color scheme of this. We can zoom in, we can zoom out. We can hide that little floating info box. We've got a lot of different options. And again, with that redesign for this tool, we're gonna have even more coming very soon. If you want to measure by factors other than price, we also have that in this menu as well. So if you wanted to measure by scooter value or up days minus down days, RSI, one that I really like to measure by, you've got a lot of options in there as well. So we're going to have lots more on the MarketCarpet in the next couple of weeks as we roll out that preview of the next generation of this tool, and that will come very soon later this summer. We're really, really excited about that tool. Finally, we're going to jump back over and we're going to show you our dynamic yield curve in just a quick minute. Now, a lot of talk, obviously, in the last year and a half about the yield curve, about rates, about everything that the Fed has been doing. So if you've ever wondered to yourself, well, what does the yield curve actually look like, and where are all these different rates, and how has that yield curve changed over time, and what's its impact on the market? All of those questions can be answered with our dynamic yield curve. Again, you have a little trail length slider. So what this is going to do is show you basically history of the yield curve. You can drag that out to see more history, kind of a shadow of it in this case. But what we can do is drag this little red line back and forth to see how the yield curve has changed over time. And as you can see, we have the S&P 500 chart right there. So you can not only see how the yield curve has changed, but how markets have moved in response to the yield curve, how they've moved together, how different positions of the yield curve have been, how the yield curve has looked at different points in market history. We can drag this all the way back to, for instance, the lows in 2009, and we can see where the yield curve was. We can see the COVID era, the pandemic, kind of where the yield curve was, rates being so low. And we can see as we drag this up, how far rates have gone. This is an incredible tool. I really, really love showing people this, especially at a time like this when rates are really the talk of the town. And again, we have a very cool option here to actually animate this. So if we drag that line to kind of where we want to start, we can hit animate in that button down below, and that's going to actually show us how that yield curve has moved over time. It's going to sort of pan through automatically for us. So again, we can see that yield curve flattening out, rates rising up to levels that we haven't seen in a long time. And we can start to see the yield curve inversion as well. A lot of talk about that as well. So that dynamic yield curve, another one that I always love to show people, a very, very cool tool. And when we talk about market analysis, that is another great one. So that is our show for today. Thank you so much for joining me on another episode of Stock Charts in Focus. It's been fun to show you through some of these other tools. I know we did it very, very quickly. We took an absolute whirlwind, speedy rocket ship tour through all of those tools. But hopefully this has got the gears turning in your head, got you thinking about some of the different ways to get more value out of some of these other tools. Again, there's so much on Stock Charts, and it goes far beyond just those basic price charts. The price charts are incredibly important, don't get me wrong, but there are a lot of other tools that you can bring into your process to, again, get more market insights, more trade ideas, better timing, lots and lots of good stuff that you can get from all of these tools. That Charts and Tools directory, one of my favorite places to send people to learn more about everything that's on Stock Charts, but also to access it. Definitely don't forget that you can access all of these tools from that Charts and Tools page. Again, we do this show every Friday, our product focus show up on the channel, digging into the site, walking you through those tools and features, and ultimately helping you get more value out of Stock Charts. So we'll be back next week with another episode. And again, in the next couple of weeks, we have some very exciting things coming to the show. Cannot wait to share it all with you. We're going to have a big, major site-wide product release that's coming very soon. We're going to have new tools and features, updates and enhancements in pretty much every corner of Stock Charts. We'll show all of you that stuff on the show today. We'll also have our release notes as we typically do so that you can review all of that, see exactly what's changed, what's new, what's been added. On top of that, though, we're going to have some amazing technology previews of some of the other things that we're working on that are coming out very soon. So basically some beta releases of some new tools you're going to get to play with. Huge stuff. Big things coming, as we said, to MarketCarpets, but also, I'm pulling back the curtain just a little bit here, big things coming to Sharp Charts. The next generation of Sharp Charts is going to be previewed later this month. So we're going to have it all for you here on the show. Of course, remember to tune in every Friday for more insights and more tips and tricks and things like that. So my name is Grayson Roze, Vice President of Operations here at StockCharts.com. Great to be with you as always. I'll see you again soon for more content here on Stock Charts in Focus. But until then, chart on, my friends.